Welcome everyone to Piney Preview's Dungeons & Dragons Online Gnomageddon. That is right, Update 30 is now up for preview on the Lamania test server here at DDO, but only the gnome is currently available. Most of the other changes are not yet in. They wanted to get the gnome up for testing and view as quickly as possible. So we have this. There will be other changes for Update 30, but we will not be seeing them yet. But if you're interested in seeing the gnome, you could log on to Lamania if you want to go through the effort of downloading the test client. Now, what is included in this race? Well, probably most important to see is that we seem to have quite a con and intelligence boost on here, and the rest of them are pretty low. Now, this is with a wizard, so you could see that a number of things must be taken into account on that, since wizards tend to be intelligence biased in the first place, and I think the gnome being added on top of it makes it even more so. Now, this is a 32-point character, so take that into account. It'll probably be 18 con, 18 intelligence, or maybe it's 20 intelligence, 16 con. One of those two, I suspect, will be if we saw this with a 28-point character. Alright, so that's what we have there. Now, the enhancement trees, since, let's face it, that's always an important aspect of each race, even though I don't use too many enhancements from races. But I am using it for this build since we are testing things out. Now, this is a wizard, so we have the usual 3 wizard trees plus the Harper Agent tree. So here's the gnome tree. Now, much of the artwork is not in there yet since we have stubs here, but the gnomish perseverance, which is the main line when you have a cross here, is 1% dodge and +1 use magic device. So you will have this, and you get here for +1 intelligence down here. So +1 use magic devices, +1 intelligence, and use magic device. So you can see that dodge and use magic devices are very important, as well as intelligence. Now up here, wand and scroll mastery. This gives me plus 25% for the first tiers, 50s, and on using wands. Now that's pretty useful, especially considering that I'm using a wand right now on this character. So if you're a wizard, that's a nice thing to have, or any other class where wands would be useful. So those wands can be useful for a much longer period of time. Now there's also gnomish weapon training here for +1 hit with light hammers, light maces, light picks, short swords, short bows, and it was those lighter weapons, and light repeating crossbows. So light repeating crossbows, meaning could be a very important thing for your artificers. So you plan a gnome artificer, then that line is going up there. If you're planning a wizard, then probably the wand side. I don't know how well this race is going to work with too many other classes because of the very strong int facing on there. Now, the other thing I noticed while I was on here, no. I was noticing that I had this weapon drop while I was in the very, very first dungeon. And that is a +1 Vorpal Heavy Mace of Healing. Now, of course, it's pretty useless to a gnome since I have that at -4 attack penalty. Or at least for a wizard, I should say. But Vorpal on a level 1 weapon in Korthos Island? That was... So, therefore, on a Vorpal hit, 1,000 hit points... or if they're less than 1,000 hit points, they're instantly slain. That's a rather nasty one, especially if a Vorpal hit, they mean a nat 20. So that was a neat one. I don't know if that's just randomness that could happen on today's servers, or if that was just something that was added or not. But let's see if anything changed in the random daily rolls. Since I'm on Lamania, it won't affect my real game rolls. 72, just got my usual curatives. Alright, that's pretty typical. So it looks like it's pretty typical stuff. And Potion of Death Ward. Well, that's useful to have. Maybe in a couple of higher levels. Actually, let me throw in some of these I might as well use these now since this is only for testing purposes. I was going to show you a quick dungeon there, but let's see what happens when I level up. That was probably not too much change, actually, in point of fact, since we are talking about a wizard here. Alright, let's stay on path. Cold Ray and Summon Monster 1? Oh, yeah. Alright. So now I am level 2. Yeah, whether that was useful or not or a waste of some of those points, we don't know. But actually, that's to start the quest because I want to, of course, finish up my spells. Yes, that's what I wanted to do since I get an extra spell slot. And I also get Summon Monster 1. I always like to use Summon Monster. So therefore, I will take that. And also, another enhancement. Make my wand as effective as possible. And there we go. Now let's do this dungeon. I was planning to do it anyway, so let's see how we do in combat. The collaborator, of course. At the Wave Crest Tavern. Alright, let's bring it. Oh. It would have been useful if I had...
Your waiting bears fruit. This must be the collaborator stepping in from the dark.
Yeah, it might help if I went around... actually have gone and... picked up some spell components while I was out there. Yeah, I don't have enchant materials, so therefore, that's something. Gnomish proficiencies. +2 to haggle, +2 to use magic device. Alright. Well then. I have to keep that in mind if I recruit another character somewhere. Alright. Oh, I do want to bring in my cleric though. I have some help on the matter, even if I was stupid and forgot the... What was I doing? I should do quite a bit with this wand here, since that plus... well, what? 75% now with probably what all I got in there? Alright, there we go. I meet him on the table since I'm so short. At least I'm fighting with a halfling. Oh, yeah. There we go. Wee. That fits
Your
on
stalwart
there.
defense gives the Sahagin pause,
Oh, let's
but
see
you
what's
hear
in
more
the
of
chest.
them gathering outside for a final assault.
Anything nice?
You notice a small chest hidden behind the bar.
It did seem to have a change in the sound of the chest when you open it up. We'll have a closer look at that when we pick up the other chest in the room below. All right, where are those? Where are the Swaggin and the Devourer cult? Come and bring it on. This magic missile.
You have weathered the Southwagin storm. Now, after that traitorous Jacoby Drexelhand, you must have
where
fled
is that?
into the cellar.
Drexelhand
isn't here. The chamber beyond the secret passage looks ancient, predating Korthos village.
Let's go to this chest and see what's in this one. Yeah, so it has that. Sounds like something's falling out of it. Yes. Alright. Well, let's just take all this. And, oh yes, that's another change in here. I noticed I got all 3 collectible bags when I first came in here. And that was a surprise because I've always had to pick those up at the harbor after finishing Korthos Island. Now, whether that's a permanent change or was just something about Lamania or the gnome, I don't know, but I guess we will find that out in the future. Alright. And Let's see, but that sounds like... I guess I could go to the notes. The patch notes. Because I have not yet looked at the patch notes. I just came in here and... After finding out about it, I downloaded the client overnight, and first thing in the morning I am playing here with this character. I have not looked at the patch notes. So I guess the patch notes will say whether or not we are, whether the change in the bags is something that was intended. Oh, that's nice. Plus impulse 33, bonus to force spell power, and that means like the magic missile. That would be great. Armor bonus plus 3 and electrical resistance. Yeah, that's as opposed to my lesser arcane augment. Increases your casting limit when casting first level spells, starter, and concentration plus 1. So, well, we'll see. This looks like an improvement up there. It's hard to compare them when you're in the middle of narrating an episode here. But alright, now this is the gnome, the newest race for Dungeons and Dragons Online. It is
Finish the job.
not yet available on the live servers. This is just the Lamania test server.
Save his life.
And this, of course, first draft. There will be other changes to that based on feedback from our various users. But that is all for today, and this is Piney Mules reminding you to quest responsibly.